Hello, my name is Coach Brady Stech, and welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be filling out an NCAA tournament bracket. So, let's get right into it. The first thing we're going to start off with is the East part of the bracket, and I'm not going to talk too in-depth about some picks that I'm going to make, I'm going to pick UConn over Stetson right now. I'm not going to talk too in-depth about that because it's a fairly easy pick. It is possible for a 16 seed to be the 1 seed, but I'm not going to be picking any of those upsets today. But for the next game, an 8 versus 9, FAU versus Northwestern. Northwestern, boo booey. They're a very good team. But I think FAU is going to be able to get hot in this game, and I think they're going to win it. The next game is San Diego State versus UAB. I'm going to pick San Diego State, but watch UAB. They might be able to pull off the upset there. This next game is Auburn versus Yale. I'm going to go Auburn. Yale, they struggled in that Ivy League championship game against Brown. I was hoping Brown would make it just to cause some chaos. You know, Brown was 13-17 going into that championship game, and so that would have been fun. Now the 6 versus 11 matchup here, BYU and Duquesne. This could be a very good matchup. Duquesne, some say they're ranked a little high. Maybe they could be a 12 seed, but they very well could beat BYU here. But I'm not going to pick that upset. I'm going to pick BYU. And let's move on to the next one. We got Illinois versus Morehead State. I'm going to pick Illinois. Shannon Jr., he's a baller. In the Big Ten tournament, he had a game where he scored 40. Big Ten tournament record. He's insane. Next game we got is Washington State versus Drake. I'm actually going to pick Drake here. I don't know too much about both these teams. I watched Drake a little bit in their conference championship game. They're a good team, and so I'm going to go with them here. Next game is Iowa State versus South Dakota State. I'm going to go Iowa State. South Dakota State, they definitely could pull off an upset if everything goes right, but I got to go Iowa State here. And should point out, these games here, I'm going to be going to in Omaha, the second round games here, so that'll be fun. So I potentially could be watching all these teams play. Now let's move on to the west part of the bracket. First game, I'm going to pick North Carolina. Not much explanation there. But the second game, this is a very tricky matchup. I'm going to go Michigan State. They're 19-14, not the best record, but they have had a tough schedule, and I think they can beat Mississippi State here. Now we got St. Mary's versus Grand Canyon. This is another game where, Grand Canyon, they had an amazing year. They could pull off an upset here, but I'm going to go St. Mary's. Their style of play, I feel like it just kind of wears teams down, and they beat Gonzaga a couple times this year, and I think they'll be able to get out of the first round here, although they did get a tough draw with Grand Canyon. Next game is Alabama versus Charleston. Some of my brackets, I picked Charleston. Yes, I made multiple brackets. Kind of a nerd for this kind of stuff, but Charleston, they could pull off an upset here, but I'm going Alabama for this bracket. Next game is a very interesting one. Number 6, Clemson versus 11, New Mexico. I'm going to go New Mexico here. I think they kind of got placed a little low, and the committee came out and said that if they didn't win their conference championship, they wouldn't have made it. And so that might be some motivation for them to make it to the second round. And 11 versus 6 is always an interesting matchup anyway. Next game is Baylor versus Colgate. Could be a good game. I'm going to go Baylor. Now we got Nevada versus Dayton, and I'm going to go Nevada. They're another one of those Mountain West teams that I think got placed a little low. So I'm going to go with them. I think they're a good team, and Dayton, they've been struggling lately. Then this Arizona versus Long Beach State. I'm going to Arizona. Funny situation with Long Beach State. Their coach got fired, but they let him coach the conference tournament, and they accidentally won it. And so now he gets to coach in the NCAA tournament. Okay, let's move on to the South region. We got Houston versus Longwood. I'm going Houston. Now we got my Nebraska Cornhuskers versus Texas A&M. I think it's hilarious that they placed these two teams against each other. The Nebraska AD left for Texas A&M just a few days ago. And this matchup is in the women's bracket as well, which is kind of ironic, but I think they maybe knew what they were doing there. But this matchup, it's tough. I'm going to go Nebraska. I don't want to jinx them or anything, but I think they'll be able to pull off the win there. The next game is Wisconsin versus James Madison. I think it's a tough draw for Wisconsin. James Madison, they had a great year. They started out with a win over Michigan State. At that point, we thought Michigan State was going to be a lot better than they ended up, but they're still a good team, I believe. But I think Wisconsin's going to be able to get the job done there, and they're going to win that game. Now we got Duke versus Vermont. I follow Duke fairly closely. They're one of my favorite teams. I think they could struggle in the tournament. They've lost 2 straight games. I don't think they're gonna lose here, but put them on upset alert. Anything could happen there. Now we got Texas Tech versus NC State. NC State went on the amazing run to win their conference championship in the ACC and to make it. It's incredible what they've been doing, and I'd say they're a very streaky team season-wise. And so, this is an interesting game. You got Texas Tech and Pops Isaac and NC State and DJ Burns. This is a tough game for me to pick, but I'm actually going to go NC State here. This is one of my kind of upsets I would predict. Now we got Kentucky versus Oakland. I'm going to go Kentucky. I believe Oakland has a player that has only shot 15 2-pointers all year. The rest of his shots are threes, and he's a starter. So I think that's kind of a fun storyline there. Next game is Florida versus either Boise State or Colorado. I think this could go either way. Boise State and Colorado, whoever wins that, it's going to be a tough matchup for Florida. And the fact that they've already played a game in the tournament, I think that might side with them. But here I'm going to go Florida. Their offense is great, just like a lot of the SEC schools. And Marquette versus Western Kentucky, I'm going Marquette. Now we got the Midwest region. I don't think Purdue's going to lose in the 1 versus 16 game this year, but you never know. 8 versus 9 seed. Utah State, another Mountain West team that a lot of people think got placed a little low. I'm going to go with them here. We'll see what happens, though. TCU is a good team. They could very well win that game. Now we got Gonzaga versus McNeese State. This is tough for both teams. Gonzaga, they've been playing their best basketball all year. Ike, he's a great player, and he's been carrying them. Then you get McNeese State. They're 30-3. Will Wade is their head coach, and he's a very good coach. And so this is a potential upset, but I got to go Gonzaga here just because of how well they've been playing lately. Now we got Kansas versus Samford. Really, this game for me is more about Kansas than anything. I think it could be an upset, but if it is an upset, it's because Kansas isn't healthy. Kansas isn't playing well. And I'm actually going to predict it. I'm going to pick Samford here because, Kansas just has not been impressive lately. Now, if they're full health, they very well could win that game, win the next round, and who knows what can happen after that. But I'm going Samford in this matchup. Now we got South Carolina versus Oregon. South Carolina they start the season off well, but when they've played tough teams, they haven't really lived up to it. Oregon, I think they've gotten hot as of late. I got to go Oregon here. South Carolina, if they win this game, I think they just lose in the second round anyway, but they've been struggling a lot lately, and so I got to go Oregon. Now we got Creighton versus Akron. I'm going to go Creighton. I watched them a lot as well. They also haven't been too impressive to me, but I think they're going to beat Akron here and get a favorable matchup in Oregon in the second round. Now we got Texas versus either Virginia or Colorado State. I think Colorado State will win that play-in game. Virginia has not impressed me much, but I think I got to go Texas either way. Just, both these teams, I feel like Colorado State is a good team, and if they win that game, I could see them beating Texas, making the second round, but I got to go Texas here. Then Tennessee versus St. Peter's. I don't think St. Pete they're not going to pull off an upset again this year, but it would be incredible if they did, but I got to go Tennessee. So let's move on to the second round. So in the second round, we got UConn versus FAU. I'm going UConn. You'll see later, but I think they might win the whole tournament. Here I'm going to go Auburn. I'm going to do some quick picks here if I don't really think I need to explain it much. I don't want the video to be too long, and so I'm going Illinois here, and then here, this could be a good matchup, but I'm going Iowa State. Drake could very well win that, but I think Iowa State will take it there. So now heading down to the West region, we got North Carolina versus Michigan State. Watch for an upset here, but I'm going North Carolina. St. Mary's versus Alabama. I believe they played last year, or at least they could have played. I forget if they did or not, but two very different styles of basketball. Alabama is very high scoring. St. Mary's is, though they want to take their time with possessions. I don't know what I just did there, but I think in this matchup, St. Mary's will beat them. Next, we got New Mexico versus Baylor. I'm going to go New Mexico here. Baylor just, I think they're definitely upsettable. I think Colgate could upset them, and if they make a second round, I think this team, Clemson or New Mexico, I think they very well could upset them as well. Now we got Nevada versus Arizona. I'm going to Arizona. Let's head over to the South region. Now we got Houston versus Nebraska. Sorry, Nebraska, I got to go Houston here. Their defense is amazing, and that's what's going to carry them through the tournament, really. Now we got Wisconsin versus Duke. It's a very interesting matchup again. I like Wisconsin in this matchup. I think Chucky Hepburn, he really carries his team. Even if he doesn't score a lot in the game, he's still going to make a big impact on defense and just passing the ball. Duke, they've had their struggles, and I think this is where it's going to end their season. Now we got NC State versus Kentucky. I'm going to go Kentucky. They're, I think, the best offense in the country. And I think that's what's going to propel them into the tournament. And so if we get a Kentucky versus Houston matchup in this game here, it could be very interesting to see what happens. In this game, I'm going to go Marquette. So now in the Midwest region for the second round, I'm going to go Purdue in this game. Purdue, not a good tournament team, I'd say, historically. Could be an upset anytime here. And so, but I'm going to go with them. I'm going to go Gonzaga over Samford. I'm going to go Creighton over Oregon, and then Tennessee over Texas. And so now, let's head to the Sweet 16. So in Sweet 16 here, I got UConn versus Auburn. Auburn has been having a really good run here. They won the SEC championship, but I'm going to go UConn. And now here, Illinois versus Iowa State. I'm going to go Illinois. They've had a good run as well. They won the Big Ten championship. And I'm going to pick this game now. I'm going UConn. North Carolina versus St. Mary's in the West now. I'm going to go North Carolina. Armando Bacot, and they got some ballers over there, and I think they're going to be able to make it quite far in the tournament. This game, Arizona versus New Mexico, I think Arizona win this game. And then out of these two, be a good game, but I'm going to go North Carolina. I think they got some ballers over there, and I think they can win and make it to the Final Four. So now in the South region, we got Houston versus Wisconsin this game. I'm going to go Houston. Their defense, once again, is just amazing. I got to go with them there. In this game, Kentucky versus Marquette, I think Kentucky can just overpower them with their offense, and so that's why I'm going to go with them. I would love to see it, Houston versus Kentucky, offense versus defense. I think the defense could win, and I know it's very unlikely that we see a lot of one seeds in the Final Four, but I think that's what could happen here. Now heading down to the Midwest, Gonzaga versus Purdue. I'm going to go Gonzaga here. They've been playing well. Ike versus Edey, that could be an amazing matchup. I got to go Gonzaga there. Creighton versus Tennessee. Creighton, I'd say, has had a fairly easy road up to here. I think Dalton Connect and Tennessee could just beat them in this game. So who wins in Tennessee versus Gonzaga? I'm going to go Gonzaga. Very unprecedented pick, I'd say. But they've been having a good end to the year. And Mark Few, great coach, I think he'll be able to help Gonzaga into the Final Four. Okay, so now in the Final Four, I have 3 1 seeds and Gonzaga. And so I think UConn versus North Carolina, I got to go UConn in this game. They've been having an amazing year. When it seems like they could lose, they pull away. And so yeah, I'm going to go UConn in that game. And then over here, I'm going to go Houston. Their defense is amazing, and I think it can propel them all the way to the Final Four, honestly. And in this championship game, I'm going to go UConn. Like I said, I've been saying all this time, they're a great team, and they got great players, and they very well could go back-to-back. They won last year in maybe unsuspecting way, but this year they're top overall seed, and I think they could just march through March and win it all. So I'll submit that. I will create a group, and I'll link that down below. So join the group, make your own bracket, and research, do all the fun stuff. And so yeah, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Comment who you think is going to win championship. Maybe your upset picks. Just comment whatever. Support the channel. Thank you for watching. See you next time.